Hey everybody, welcome to Your Unpaid Therapist.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Your Unpaid Therapist.
I'm not getting paid. I didn't even get a donut.
Oh, that's sexy though. I like it.
I'm Valerie Milagros Ortiz.
I don't know. I am your host, Ali Kona. She's away. Brad Ford.
This is Your Unpaid Therapist. Shoo-wah, cha-cha.
Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba.
This is Your Unpaid Therapist. Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome. We are back. More season 2 action. And I'm so excited for today's guest because she's quite a wonderful person. Professional athlete on so many different spectrums, a survivor and a wonderful friend. And today we wanted to talk a little bit about coping because there have been a few traumatic events in her life that I feel like some of you can relate to. So it's just nice knowing that somebody else has gone through this and hopefully it will inspire you or just make you feel like you're not alone. So anyways, that's what we're doing today. I'm joined by my lovely, beautiful, vivacious co-host.
Thank you. Vivacious you are today. We were discussing just how cute her hair and makeup is. It reminded me of Coco, the movie. But yes, so I'm so excited. Obviously, if you guys are new to this season, we used to do these Never Have I Evers. Now we're doing these songs. And we're essentially just picking a song that meant something to us this week, today, this month, whatever. I can go first, and I'm not like hearing myself. But it's gonna go with the episode, but mine's actually really sad, and I haven't even talked to you about this, Ali Kona.
Oh, no.
And I think if you've been a follower of this podcast, or maybe just me in general, you know I'm a spiritual person. I don't consider myself religious, even though I grew up Catholic. But this is a religious song.
Okay.
And I can't, I'm not a singer, but I'm just going to do it. Okay. Okay. Ooh, okay. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Anyway, it's called I Can Only Imagine by Mercy Me. And this is heavy, y'all. So a friend of a friend who I've known for years, he just passed away, and he was like 43, and he was put in hospice, and like I just life. And this is obviously a song about passing and moving on. And then just this week, because I saw just his body disintegrate, and seeing how joyful and beautiful that his spirit was. It's all just been weird, and I've been in this weird headspace for the last 2 weeks of like, what the fuck is life? Like, what? And I was just talking to my mom about it. Like, what is the point? So that is that song. Sorry to start it off on a damper, but
It's okay. I'm like, pardon me while I wipe my tears from my eyes. My goodness.
But that's just, man, that's just, we're always keeping it real for y'all. And that's really my headspace has been like, that's it. Who wants to be next?
I mean, I guess I'll go. I won't make our guest go next. I'll go. And I just want to say that your voice sounded really good, by the way.
Oh, whatever. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I never do this, but for pacing, I am going to cheat. And in my background, I'll probably play the song a little bit. This is a song that I just really enjoy. The first time I heard it, I got out of my seat and was like, hey. And I mean, I guess it is sort of relevant to my week, which you guys kind of know about and not. So I'll play the song first. Brace yourself, people. And if you're driving, you may need to pull over just so you don't crash. What I
Stop it.
Okay, here we go. Oh, is that too loud? Hold on. I don't want it to be so loud that like we get in trouble for violating whatever, stuff. Let's see here.
Copyright.
Okay. Find a corner now. Your hands in my hair. Finally, we're here. Wait, hold on. Sorry, I couldn't see all the words. Rewind. We're gonna take 2. Sorry. Very
I don't
anal
know
about this,
this
guys. I take my singing
song.
seriously.
You really do, and
I
which is
do.
funny, y'all,
Okay.
because she was the most nervous. All right.
All right. Round the corner, then your hands in my hair. Finally, we're here, so
I
I
like this song.
say you got a flight, need an early night. No, don't go yet. Oh, yeah. Don't go yet. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't go yet. I'm not even on tune, but it's Camila
Yeah.
Cabello. That Don't Go
Cabello.
Yet song. Na,
I
na, na,
love that
na,
song.
na, 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 na,
Ding,
na,
ding,
na, na.
ding.
Don't
So
go yet.
what? So where are you not going yet?
I am not leaving somebody else's presence. I had a good weekend, you guys. Filled with a lot of fun and adventure with a adventurous gentleman. So that's my don't
Mm.
go yet. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, I like this little teaser. And Jen, welcome to the podcast. How did you feel
Thank
when Ali
you.
Kona told you about this part of it?
Terrified, to be honest.
Are you terrified still after seeing what we did?
Yes,
Hopefully
and
not.
okay, no, I still am a little bit. I told Ali Kona this that I spent like all morning just like looking for songs. I'm like, what song am I gonna sing? I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Yeah, not
Well, do
thrilled.
not be scared. You can hum it if you need to. Like, it's not that serious. But
All
it
right.
does give us such a good insight into you and your world. And
Okay, great. So I'll sing it. Everyone knows this song, or I
okay,
imagine that they would know this song.
all right.
Okay. You drive me crazy. I just can't sleep. I'm so excited. I'm in too deep. Whoa, crazy. But it feels alright. Baby, thinking of you keeps me up all night.
Yes, and you
Yay.
sounded great.
I know, right? I'm like,
That's a
I'm the
good
only
song.
one that sounded like complete trash. Thanks,
You
No.
guys.
still did it.
I
What
did it.
is go? What is there?
Okay.
Just too many things.
Yes, that is pretty much it. Not too many. I think it's just enough, but
Oh, good. I like that.
it's me. I'm the one that drives me crazy. I'm the one that keeps me up at night. Um, this weekend was, I also had an amazing weekend and it was jam packed and full. We just came off of taping for WoW. So it was my first free weekend in like 5 weekends. And I packed it with 2 different camping trips with 2 different groups.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was like back to back. I wasn't sleeping because I was just going from like one trip to the next trip. And it was great though. Like it just
That's
was like,
awesome. Where
yeah,
did you
totally good
camp?
for myself. So the first trip I did, I backpacked Gorgonio.
I don't know
So
what that
I
is.
slept on Mount Gorgonio, Mount San Gorgonio. The summit was Saturday night, and then I woke up on the mountain. We had to hike It was 9 miles up, 9 miles down, 55 feet of elevation gain. I'm waddling a little bit today. I'm really sore. And
That's
then
awesome.
yeah, it was great. And then Sunday, I like finished the hike, came back, stopped at my place, and then drove up to San Luis Obispo. So I was in
Oh, so beautiful.
Cambria. I went
Mhm.
to San Simeon State Park and camped there and I was there till last night. I came in at like 1:30 last night. So
Oh wow.
a little busy. Then I'm doing this
I love
today.
that.
Yeah, it's just it's busy, but it's good.
Good. So good to hear. Went camping for my birthday and it's just I miss it. It's so
Oh
good.
my God. I just realized this is the first episode that Valerie's done at 40. What?
It
Happy birthday.
is. Thank you. She 40. She 40.
She
Yeah.
fabulous. She fabulous.
Girl, feels crazy.
Where did you
That
go camping?
the sequoias. That was so the stars. It's just the stars. They get me every time. Really quick, I had a quick little message that said it lost connection, but then it came back like everything was fine. So I'm just making sure everything looks good on your end.
It looks good on my end. Does it say anything about
Okay, good.
video not being connected or anything?
Nope. Just
Okay.
wanted to say that just in case.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. Jen, can you
All
bring the
right.
mic a little bit closer to your mouth? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
So let's get into it. I mean, look, I started the episode with this like kind of heavy song because it's the real of what's been going on in my life. And it feels like kind of a heavy episode, but I do like the idea of learning more about how you coped and how you're still doing things like camping and you're at WoW and chasing your dreams and doing the
Yeah.
damn thing after so much. So where would we start even?
Ooh,
Like,
that's a good question. Yeah, and I'm sorry to hear about your friend, but I
oh
thought,
yeah.
yeah, that's kind of on point for what we're going to talk about today. So,
Mhm.
um, where should we start?
Well,
Do
first
you
of
want me?
all, I did not
Yeah.
say this in the introduction, but for those of you who are not familiar, and it may have not picked up on this because usually you're like slathered in all sorts of makeup on WoW, but
Happens.
Jen is ice cold on WoW. So she's a WoW superhero, she's a wrestler, but she's anything
Mm.
but chilly in real life.
Ah.
I just had to say that. Okay. So I guess I'll segue you into this. So when I met Jen, and I say all that because if you've ever seen WoW, they do a little bio on her the first season that tells you a little bit about her journey and her story. But the gist
Mhm.
is like, I'll let you tell your story, but you've back to back to back dealt with trauma after trauma after trauma so close together and all very big ones. So that's why we wanted to talk about coping because it's a lot to deal with one but multiple. And I think it's easy for people to go, well, why me? What did
Mm.
I do wrong to deserve this? So I guess just start with like the first big event in your life and we can go from there.
Sure. Yeah. Um, okay, so we'll start 10 years ago in 2014, and it's actually in this month 10 years ago. So,
Mm.
my dad was very sick with cancer, and he ended up passing away in September of 2014. So
Wow.
I was 26 or 27, lost my dad, and he was like my best friend. Like I would call
Mm.
my dad when I did well on a test, like everything. Do well on a test. I'd call him about work. We were really close. So losing him was very significant and very
Mhm.
difficult. Um, but I think that losing a parent is one of those tragedies that you kind of expect to come in life. So I felt like I should be okay. I should be able to move on. And we knew it was coming because he was sick with
Mhm.
cancer.
How long had he been, going through from like diagnosis to passing?
He was diagnosed in, it was either 2006 or 2007. So
Okay.
it had been a little while.
Okay.
Um, and honestly, for the first, until 2014, he kind of still seemed the same to me. And I think
Himself.
my parents tried to maybe keep a lot of the
The
struggle,
hardest part.
yeah, away from myself and my brother. Um, but yeah, by 2014, my mom had told me, oh, he's going into hospice care. And it was really
Mhm.
hard for me to start keeping things together. I was like crying at work and just being sad before it even happened because I knew it was going to happen
Right. Right around the corner.
pretty soon. Yeah. So that was a pretty difficult year. And in some ways, and I think some people who have experienced this type of loss, when you do watch someone wither away in front of you, there is a bit of relief when they
Mhm.
pass. It's devastating and you don't know how you're going to feel, but there's a tiny bit of relief like, okay, thank goodness he's not in pain anymore.
Right.
But now I can, it almost feels like, okay, now I can start this healing journey that I knew I was going to have to be on. It's like the waiting part is awful.
That's hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
so
terrible.
sorry. Yeah. So what
Um,
was that for you? How did that begin for you? That
the
healing
the healing.
after, right? Or how did you cope with that? Like you were crying at work, you're having this emotional roller coaster, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah. I think life told me you are not going back right away. You need to sit down. So 3 weeks to the day after my dad died, I was very into CrossFit and
Mhm.
weightlifting and stuff, and I was doing a workout and snapped my Achilles tendon.
Oh.
3 weeks to the day after my dad died. I was absolutely devastated. I knew exactly what had happened when I did it. And so then all of a sudden I lost the sport that I was really
Yes.
into. I lost a lot of my independence. I could no longer walk. I needed, I was living in Boston. My parents and my brother are in Maine. So now I need surgery. I don't have a car. I take public transportation to work. Luckily, I was able to coordinate and like work from home for a while, but so I had to go back home. I was now had surgery. I'm kind of like bound to this chair, ironically, that my dad was in. So now I am
Stop.
also,
Ugh,
just stuck
God.
in this chair. So it was like, I think I tried. I was like, okay, I'm okay. I'll go back to work. I will go back to working out. I'll just try and pretend like everything's okay. And life was basically said, absolutely not. You need more time to sit and heal. So it was a forced more family time,
Mm.
which I guess, in the long
How
run
was your
is
other?
good.
Was your mom, and you said you have a brother?
Mm-hmm.
So how was that dynamic and their healing journey? Like, so now you're forced back home. Were they there
Mm-hmm.
too?
Yes. Yep. We were
And
all
how
there.
was that? Like, were you guys in different stages of that coping, and
Yeah, I
or was
think
it kind of back
so.
to normal
It
at the
definitely was
house?
not back to normal.
Hmm.
Very difficult for everyone. I was, especially my mom, especially my brother. My brother lived at home, so he was also helping to take care of my dad. And he was really important because he needed to be there to help move my dad from like the bed to the chair
Sure.
to the bathroom. Wasn't as much of that later on, but so he needed to be there. I think this dynamic between the three of us was very
Hmm.
interesting
Yeah.
because my mom has also experienced quite a bit of loss in her life. So there was her, she's so sad. She lost both of her parents when she was young, and now she's lost her husband and um, both of her children. Now we're grieving. We're really sad.
Hmm. Hmm.
My brother was in the military, and I think maybe there was an expectation that he was going to be okay. And I think even for me too, my parents, my dad too, he was like, "You're going to be okay. You guys are going to be okay without me." And he's right. It's true, but it doesn't really make it easier when you lose someone to know, okay, I
Hmm.
can be okay without them, but you don't really want to be. Still, it's still very hard. Um, so I think too for my mom, especially because she'd already gone through loss of her parents too
Yeah.
and gotten through it. So we're all definitely in a different spot.
Hmm.
And I'm
Now we're all
injured
in this under the same roof
under the
again.
same
Yeah.
roof. I need my mom and my brother to help me do most everything, which was really hard.
Mm.
I just remember the first night after surgery when my nerve block wore off, I could feel it. I was like, oh my God, I was in so much pain. I was just crying. And my mom came downstairs because I couldn't go upstairs. And she was just like, please, please stop crying. I was like, I can't. It hurts so much. And it was
Oh.
just so much emotion in these, like, this month that it was just like,
Hmm.
please stop. Um, but yeah, I think it was good that we just had more time to be together and be sad.
Yeah. I mean, that's wild. The fact that it happened on the day, what was it?
It was
It's
a
of
Tuesday. I still
right
remember. Oh my God, it's
anniversary.
Tuesday today.
Yeah, holy mo! I don't believe in coincidence, and when stuff like that happens, it's like wow.
Yeah.
Well, also too, I was
So,
to say like the compound of just everything, and because I've been in a position, and Val knows because she's visited me. I've been in a position where I couldn't get myself from point A to point B because I've hurt myself, and it happened within a year and a half time frame where it's like sprained one ankle, okay, fine, sprained the other one, okay, and then the same one again to the point where it cracked my shin. Um, and I'm so fiercely independent that I was like, trying to put my leg on an office chair and like push myself in the house and like to accept that someone else now has to help me with like the
Mhm.
simplest, dumbest things, and I can't be active and I can't do things. And emotionally, I feel like probably for you too, Jen, but I know for like me and Val, like that's how we process and just if we can't physically move our bodies, it
Yes,
causes a whole array of mental issues on top of
correct.
that. So to not have that and
That
you're dealing with
release.
something major in life, that
yeah,
must have been really tough.
it definitely was. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even go work out. I can't hang out with those people
Yes.
that I'm normally with. Whew, it totally took me out of everything. It was
So then, go ahead. I'm saying, and then shortly after that, I mean, I don't recall the whole order of events in your life.
yeah.
So maybe you
I
can
can't
kind of
believe
take us
that,
down that
Alicona.
path.
How come you don't know? Uh, so, yeah. So I got really into weightlifting on this. Recovery was really important for me. Then the grief and the physical recovery kind of became really intermingled. So going back, I was mostly a CrossFit athlete, and then I went really hard into weightlifting because it was very specific. You could see your progress, and I lifted 5 pounds more than last week, or I lifted this weight 3 times more than I did last week. So it's very measurable. Um, and my goal was to qualify for weightlifting nationals, which I had done before the tear, before my dad died. They increased the totals, so I had to re-qualify. So that journey for me, I went to nationals in 2015 in August. So like within I think 6 months, I was
Good for
already
you.
competing in weightlifting again. And it kind of took me, ironically though, like this whole journey took me to nationals and putting me on this trajectory to really go 1000% into weightlifting. And then I qualified for my first international competition in 2016, which was,
Wow.
yeah, super exciting. It was the Rio test event. So the Olympic test event. I got to go to Rio in April. So that's like 3-4 months before the actual Olympics.
Wow.
And I was thrilled about this. I think this was probably my 10th, between 10 and 15, maybe my 10th ever weightlifting competition, which that's all of them, just like the local through to national, whatever. There's not a lot of competitions. So
To
this
you.
competition, yeah.
But no,
Meanwhile,
but it speaks
our
to how
listeners are like
athletic.
10.
Right. But no, but it also speaks to like how athletic you are as a human, because most
Right.
people do have to like go through like smaller to work their way up to, and
She's
then
like,
here
oh,
you are.
6 months. I was, already
So
back to
big.
nationals.
It's all
Yeah.
good.
It's funny because I had only done like 2 weightlifting competitions in 2014.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed getting good at something and quickly. I mean, that's
Yeah.
very
The
hard not
And
to
biggest
that
like
you
that.
challenge.
could control, like, and
Yeah.
Ali Corn and I talk about this all the time when it comes to fitness. It's all you, like the discipline, that you getting up, that getting stronger and trying again. And it's nobody else can, uh, gets the credit for that. It's every ounce of whatever you put into it mentally, physically. So it's so gratifying, and that's incredibly impressive. I'm so
Yeah.
happy for you. That's
Oh,
cool.
thank you. Yeah, it was, like I said, it was part of my healing to just put
Mhm.
everything into this sport. It helped me, it pulled me out of, I think, that grief depression because I
Sure.
had such a tangible goal: qualify for nationals, then place high at nationals, then place higher at the next competition. And I just kept doing it. And it kept me, in community. It kept me with the
Mhm.
people that I trained with. Um, and those are the people that I was around the most. So they knew when I lost my dad, and they knew how hard it was, and they saw me come back. And it's just so much more fun to do that with people who have been on that journey with you. So when I got to Rio, I thought, oh, this is great. We're just going up and up and up. And gosh, I had the worst competition. I'd never bombed out before. In a weightlifting competition, you get 3 chances to do your heaviest snatch and 3
Ooh.
chances to do a heaviest clean and jerk, and they add your heaviest together. If you don't, so and in this competition in the Olympics for weightlifting, you only get a total. In national competitions, you can get a snatch, and you can get a medal for a snatch, and you can get a medal for a clean and jerk, and you can get a
Oh.
medal for a total. But in these international competitions and in the Olympics, it's usually just a total. So I went in there and I missed all 3 of my snatches.
Oh
That's
no.
called a bomb out. So I got a 0 for snatch. And at this
When you
competition,
say, sorry to interrupt, when you say you missed, what does that mean for people who aren't in CrossFit and don't
ah,
understand?
that means I tried to lift it and I did not. So the
Okay.
snatch is straight from the ground to
Hmm.
overhead in one motion, and then you
Hmm.
stand up. and I just dropped. I think one of them I was standing up and I dropped it behind me, and then the other two were just
Okay.
dumped in front of me, and I was like so mortified. I was so upset. And in this competition, if you didn't have a snatch, you didn't even get to clean and jerk. So
Oh.
I went
okay.
all the way to Rio, went out on that stage for, you have 30 seconds to do lifts. So I'm probably out there for a total of 30 seconds altogether, missed 3 lifts, and my competition was
It's
over.
done. Oh gosh, that's hard.
I was just heartbroken. I was so disappointed. I did my clean and jerks in the back just for myself.
Sure. Yes. Good for you.
Yeah, thanks. So then I think the next night was our last night in Rio, and I went out with the team, and there was drinking. We were all hanging out together, and this is where the last traumatic part of the story comes in. So I did get very inebriated that evening and made it back to my hotel room. But when I woke up, there was one of my teammates in my room with me, on top of me, already having sex with me inside me. So then I had this to deal with because, and it took a little while, but I was sexually assaulted. So that's, I haven't talked about this one in a while. This was huge in my life. I didn't really know what to do. I was in another country. These people that I was at the competition with weren't really my friends, because I kind of came in so quickly. Pretty sure no one liked me because they were like, "Who is this? She just came out of nowhere and is in this competition."
Got it.
Yeah.
So there was no one to go to with this kind of information where you felt safe.
No.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah. It was really.
So did you speak about it?
Not for a while.
Yeah.
I basically pushed it out of my mind, was like, that's not what it was in my head. I think that maybe to some people that might sound kind of crazy because you're questioning, like, was I just assaulted? Was I raped? And that might seem kind of confusing to some people, but for a lot of people who have gone through that is exactly what it's like. You're unsure. It's confusing. It's scary. Yeah.
Did you, because I understand that, I've had similar, not exactly, but we've talked about, and we've talked on the podcast, like similar situation where you start going, did I initiate that? I mean, you were drinking, so I don't know what your thought process, but for me, I was not drinking. And it was like, was I to this or was I to that? And there's the moment of stalling when you realize what's happening and questioning, like you have to process it in your brain. And I don't know how it feels like a million years, but it could have been 5 seconds where it's like, is this what's happening? Is this man like inside? He is. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Body, push him off. So for you, were you able to, like, what was your thought process in terms of like, did you tell this person stop, and did you confront this person and be like, I never gave you permission? Or did you just kind of like let it happen? And I don't know.
Yeah. So a very similar to that. What happened is I woke up and I'm starting to realize what's happening, and I'm doing that exact thing. Like, how did he get in my room? Did I let him in the room? Where is my roommate? Because I had a roommate. She was supposed to be in the room. And while I'm kind of thinking through all these things, it's still happening. And this is kind of where I had to work through a lot of like my own guilt. But there's the fight, flight, or freeze, and I froze, and I was like, okay, well, it's already happening. I must have said yes, or like I must have been here for the start of this or something. And then I think once that maybe when you like give into it or something, it's kind of like you're like, oh, okay, I guess this is happening.
Yeah.
I kind of gave up all the decision making at that point. And I did try at one point to be like, move away. Like I was not able
The
to
bottom
really
line
speak.
is, though, is that you obviously weren't in your right mind, and it doesn't really matter at that point. Like, there was still that instinctual thing of you having to have all these questions, and that says enough. Because normally, and for us women, and I'm just going to speak for myself, when you get a little inebriated and you're, feeling sexy and you're doing something with someone you love or whatever, it, you know what I mean? Like, there,
Yeah.
that all that those questions that went through your head do not happen. So the fact that that was the first thing that happened as soon as that, you're coming into this, like, wait, what? That's it. That's enough. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all, you don't have to prove to, even to yourself, right? Like, uh, put the puzzle pieces together. It doesn't even matter what they are at that point. It's, you were in an uncomfortable situation that you didn't know how you got in, and obviously you were being taken advantage. That's it, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
all. Those are the only facts that matter at that point. And I'm so sorry you had to go through that. And I can't even. I know, Ali Coney, you've had similar ish instances, and that's the part that hurts the most. I think, is hearing any woman or man have that guilt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. There is so much guilt and shame
I
that
can
goes with it.
imagine.
And that's what makes, at least for me, that's what made me stay quiet. Um, because I had so much shame. I had so much guilt. It must have been my fault. I must have done something.
Mm-hmm.
And I can look back on it now and know that that's not true. But interestingly enough, like I just said, I hadn't talked about it in a while, and I was like, oh, the feelings are coming up, but it's not as bad as it has been in the past. But ooh, they stay there. They really like
Yes.
they stick with you, those feelings. Whew.
And so, what was your coping mechanism,
Mm.
whether healthy or not healthy?
I had a few strategies when I came home. And my first strategy was, I'm not going to pretend this didn't happen. So
Okay.
I decided that I was going to tell like my friends and the people around me. And I thought, okay, if I can tell them what happened,
Mm-hmm.
then I can accept it and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I really wanted to do at that point. And it seemed like a good strategy. um, until, I realized like, oh, I'm all of a sudden just like crying in front of my friends and telling them. But there was definitely a part of, I needed to have that external validation to talk through and be
Sure.
like, okay, this is what happened and this is what I remember and this is how I felt. And I kind of needed people to say, just like you did, that's not your fault.
Yeah.
That was not on you. That definitely was an assault. Like, I needed external validation because saying it to myself in my head was just making me crazy. And I didn't know what
Yeah.
to do with it. Like, what do you do with that once you make that acknowledgement in your own head too? I was just like, okay, now what?
And that's a very real thing to say out loud, because I feel like just that sentence, I didn't know what to do with it, can go and can be relatable in so many different facets of someone's life. Like, I feel like I've thought that, not with this scenario. So I think it's so relatable, that idea of having feelings or having gone through something and being like, I I don't know what to do with this now, like, with this new event, with this new trauma, with this new experience, like, fuck.
Yeah.
And not having those tools, right? Like,
Yes.
and you can't get it out.
Yes. You
Super
cannot.
relatable in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So strategy number one kind of helped, but
It did.
not for long term. Did you
Yeah.
ever go to therapy or anything like that?
I did. And
Okay, cool.
again, it took me a while.
Sure.
So, the good thing about my initial strategy was it helped me find the resources that I needed to continue the healing journey. So, in telling my friends, I was given a therapist
Oh,
number.
good.
I didn't use it for a year, but
That's okay.
we got there eventually. Uh, and yeah, so I was able to get the resources. I was able to get some of that initial validation and camaraderie, comfort from others in the like immediate aftermath. Like coming home from another country, I went straight to the gym.
Yeah.
It's natural to me. And I was able to talk about what had happened. And then, and I kind of just went into the same coping strategy that I had after my dad died. I thought, I will just throw myself back into the sport again because it worked last time. It worked really well. So I'm going to do it again. And it did work for a little while until it didn't, essentially. And that took about a year and a little less than a year and a few more competitions where I had to see this person.
Oh.
And that is where it really started to weigh on me.
Yeah.
So now my coping strategy is tied up in another brand new trauma.
Sure.
Crap, what do I do now? So I was like, just so I think about it too. I'm like, it's just like heartbreaking. Like that something worked so well and now something else has happened and it's essentially taken it away.
Can I ask you something, Jen? Did
Of
you,
course.
after that happened, did you avoid any type of intimate situation with men? Did you avoid drinking? Did it affect any behaviors of yours?
This is a very good question. And it did affect my behaviors. This is where it's so important, at least for me as a survivor, to tell my story because I was able to hear these stories from other survivors and feel like I'm not alone in this. So it did change how I interacted with other men. And I think at first, not in the way you would think. And this is also not unusual, where I wanted to prove to myself that I was okay and this didn't affect me. So it made me actually want to find and have more intimate relations with other men to prove to myself that I was okay. So it almost made me more reckless in a way.
That's actually very common. I was in a close, I know somebody really, really close to me who was in a similar situation when they were younger and male, and the same thing for him. Like it made him almost seek it. And at points, obviously I'm not going to say who this person is, but be the person in control of all of the situations of the intimacy and being the initiator, being like
the aggressor. Yeah.
So it's probably more common than maybe you've heard, but like when knowing the story with this person, I was all doing all the research and just and yeah, it's super super common.
Yes, it is. So I am not immune. I am the same. It's very common.
I just don't want you to feel like, how could I? Like it seems like it's a maybe the defense mechanism, or I don't know what the clinical term of why that would be, but it seems like that's like maybe that's control, finding that control again of I'm in control of the situation, because kind of you are. Like, and that's what you kind of have to do to prove it to yourself.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It makes total sense to me why I did it. I wanted control. I wanted to tell myself I was okay. And logically, I was like, well, if I can do this, if I can have these relationships, or whatever things, then that means I'm okay.
Fine.
That means it didn't affect me. But ironically, in doing that, it's kind of also proving that it did affect me.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, healing. What a trip.
I know.
So yes, it absolutely did. It absolutely did. Oh, where was I going from here?
So yeah, you were talking. Yeah, no, you were talking about obviously the behaviors that changed in this healing. Then you're like, I'm going to get back into my competitions, back into the training, and then unfortunately, in doing so, you were back in contact with this person who put you in this situation to begin with. So now, how do you handle this? Do you recoil? Do you take yourself out of competitions and training again, or?
And did you ever report this person, or again, like I said, confront this person to let them know? Like,
so this is where, it's all the same question. Basically, I got to the point where I either thought I have to walk away from this sport or I do something about it and get this person removed. Because I shouldn't have to be the one to leave this sport.
Sure.
Right.
I don't want to do that. So one night, and I'm seeing he's also a very good weightlifter and he's being promoted and
Ugh.
certain things. So I'm seeing him more and more on my social feeds, things like that. So I finally did and my weightlifting coach, who was my personal weightlifting coach, was actually in Rio with me. I told him almost immediately when I came back, and he wanted to report this to the CEO of USA Weightlifting immediately. And I said no, because I didn't want to, for multiple reasons. But like I said, one, I was brand new, wasn't like high up on the ranking list. He was really good. I felt like it was just going to reflect poorly on me and not go anywhere, not do what my coach would want it to do. So and again, this is me laying the groundwork for what I'm doing now a year later. As I finally sat down at my computer, I wrote up this whole email. I said, this is exactly what happened to me. This is what I remember happening. This person needs to like go. Something needs to happen. And I sent that to again, actually I didn't send it directly to the CEO. I sent it to a contact at USA Weightlifting that I got from somebody else when I told them my story. They were like, you should contact this person. So I was getting all the pieces. Luckily, this person at USA Weightlifting was responded quickly and got the ball rolling on an investigation. So what happened was, I don't know if you've heard of this organization, but it's called Safe Sport. And it was, okay, so Safe Sport was created to keep sports safe. And it is primarily to keep athletes safe from physical and sexual abuse. A lot of it stemmed from USA Gymnastics and what happened with Larry Nassar. It was created by Congress, and it had just opened its doors. So the timing for me is crazy. I sent my email on Saturday and they opened their doors on that Friday. And on Monday, I was one of the first cases that they had.
Wow.
Yeah. And so if I had reported it when I did, I would not have gone through this organization.
So I read a quote, and I don't know what UNESCO is. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it said 21% of women and girls globally have suffered sexual abuse in a sporting environment during childhood, nearly double the rate of their male counterparts. Physical abuse, violent in sport is not confined to physical contact discipline. So it's obviously not just like, sexual assault only, but I thought that was really interesting, and I'm assuming it's very much, or it's very similar to what you were saying with the history of those
Safe
stories
sport.
with safe sport and gymnastics, and really obviously globally it's very unfortunately common.
It is.
And so this safe sport came out, or so what year was this?
This was 2017.
2017. Got it. Wow. That's
And what was
crazy
the
because that's not far. That wasn't that long ago.
No.
No.
It was not. It was not. So 2014, I lost my dad. 2016, assaulted, and then 2017, I finally start this investigation process. Which, unbeknownst to me at the time, I'm, so naive and perhaps optimistic. Like, I reported in March, and I'm like, nationals are in May. Is he going to be gone by then? And I laugh now because, it took so long. The whole investigation took a year.
Wow. Yeah.
But it's like, what are they investigating? What is there to investigate except for asking him his story, asking you your story? It's not like they can go back to the hotel room and collect any type of specimen of sorts. So what is this investigation?
Maybe other victims or something, possibly.
Oh, like testing
I don't
their
know.
character or something?
Could
I
be.
mean,
I don't know.
yeah, what it was, the investigation, at least for me, because I can only speak to mine. Obviously they're not going to Rio, but they did do interviews with the other people who were there. They're just trying to figure out, like what happened earlier in the night and
Sure.
putting together a timeline of everything. And they have a much lower burden of proof. They have, I think it's, God, I have to look up the exact terminology, but is this more likely than not to have happened rather than beyond a reasonable doubt?
Gotcha.
So it's like the preponderance of, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The
That's
words are
interesting.
eluding me right now. So, and
So it
this
took a year.
case, yeah, it took a year. And this case kind of went through a lot of ups and downs. At first, they were like, well, he said he was never in your room, so we're just going to close the case. I about lost my marbles when she said that. I was like,
Wow.
how can you just do that? But eventually he was caught in his lie. I mean, he literally knocked on the door. My roommate, who actually wasn't my roommate, she was placed in my room. She opened the door and he was like, oh, let me walk you back to your room. So there was another person in this room when he showed up at my door and like
Got it.
walked her to her room and came back. So like there was other people involved. Luckily enough for me to catch him in his lie, essentially. Like, I'm sorry,
Wow.
you can't lie your way out of this one.
Right.
So there were just a lot of interviews, a lot of them not checking in. It was just a lot of me going, hi, what's happening? Hello, what's happening? Hello, what's happening? And they were like, oh, we have a lot of cases. It's taking a long time. So anyway, about exactly a little less than a year later, I get a report and it did find that he, what did they say? Like, had non-consensual sex with me. So they did make that finding, thankfully. Well, the story doesn't end well, unfortunately. Spoiler. So he was banned for 10 years from the sport for that, and then 2 additional years for lying to them at first by saying,
good. Okay.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And then expectedly so, he appealed the decision. So now we're in 2018 and we got the decision, I think, right before nationals. And this sucks so much. So 2018, I go to nationals. I'm still in the midst of this investigation. I think he was just, the report came out. He was not supposed, I'm worrying about nationals. And I'm also like, this guy's not going to be here, right? And they did end up removing him from the competition.
Good.
And I won my first national competition.
Yay!
But it's so overshadowed by this other stuff.
Sure.
But anyway, so that was pretty cool that I was still able to do that in the midst of all this, but it was not easy.
Girl, that was way more than cool. That's badass.
Thank you.
That is amazing.
But yeah, so months later, because again, it takes forever, we have this arbitration, which I have like anyone who's been to arbitration, I just feel like, I don't know, it doesn't seem fair. It kind of feels like a joke. We go to arbitration. I feel like the cards were just stacked against me from the beginning here. And they overturned it. They took away the 10-year sentence. They were like, oh, there wasn't enough evidence, because they brought in this expert witness, and actually the same expert witness that they used in the Brock Turner case.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, okay, so she's an expert witness. I'm like, oh, she just gets paid money to say what the defense wants her to say.
Right.
Oh, God, I'm getting angry thinking about her in this right now, because she basically had this testimony that being blackout drunk is like having a headache. So you could look at someone and not know that they have a headache or not know that they're blackout drunk. And so then you could have sex with them, but you didn't know that they were blackout drunk.
Wait, hold on though. Like, it's called consent. It's called a verbal consent. Did he get one? No.
Yeah.
First of all, and why do they call it blackout for a reason? Because that person is clearly not in their right mind, and anybody knows that anybody's seen somebody not even blackout drunk, but just drunk in general. You can tell from a mile away. A, B, I'm getting angry for you. But why does this always happen to women? women and rape victims, where it's like you have to go through all these loopholes like to prove that someone assaulted you. And I get it, because if you convict the wrong person, then obviously they're being punished for no reason. But this guy isn't getting sent to jail. It's like, just keep him away from the
Just keep
sport
him
so he
out of the
can't be a
sport.
predator to other women. So it's like, why are you? And shame on her for being a woman and being okay with stepping up in front of an audience, a trial, whatever, and making an argument like that. Like, shame on you.
Right, especially after having your roommate, friend, whoever opened that door, like, what are we
It doesn't
doing?
matter. It doesn't matter. The point is, even if you weren't drunk, you did not give consent to have sex. So you could have been in your right mind. He still didn't have the right to enter your body. Point blank,
Absolutely.
full stop.
Agreed. Yeah, and it's crazy because we ended up arguing, and not me. I'm just listening to all this happen. Like, what is it like? And I didn't really have representation because it's just Safe Sport trying to defend their decision against his lawyer. So like, I don't have anyone really on my side. And then it was basically came down to, well, if she was asleep, she's not a sleep expert. I'm like, so what? It was absolutely crazy. And then yeah, they it got into like the technicality of what was their definition of rape or sexual assault in the USA weightlifting guidelines that were applicable at that time. So it got down to like the craziest like definitions of things to overturn this. It just
so that's it. Everything just got overturned.
Yeah.
He had no repercussions at all.
So they kept how I had the 2-year ban for lying. For some reason they thought that was maybe too much, so they changed it to 18 months, and he had already served like a year of it, so he really only had like 6 months left to be out of the sport, and then they just got rid of the 10-year thing. So for me, it really did nothing except for put me through this whole ordeal, thinking he's gonna be gone, and then he's back. And yeah, I was pretty much done with weightlifting after that. Oh, well, then we get to the next trauma of so this was all overturned. I think it was like August or something, 2018. I actually qualified for another international competition I was going to go to. It was going to be in Thailand. And then at the end of 2018, I'm going through all this. I was already having trouble training, and I wasn't training as hard. I wasn't doing as well mentally. And then my brother died in a fire at the end of this year, at the end of 2018. So,
oh my God.
I pretty much, any semblance of healing or wherever I was at that point just kind of completely shattered again. And I just, was kind of thrown. And that's basically how I went out of weightlifting. I was done.
I would be too, first of all, and second of all, just like, I mean, because I'm familiar with your story, not into the depths and details of it, because I just never would want to make you feel uncomfortable in telling me some of these things, but I just can't even imagine just hit after hit after hit and just being okay. Like, I don't know. Nobody deserves to go through all that.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot. It was a lot. I definitely spent a lot of time going, why me? Why do I have to have 2014 be a terrible year and 2016 be a terrible year and 2018 be another shit year? And I was just like, is this my pattern for life? What's going to happen in 2020? Global pandemic.
Well, I know. I was like, well, girl, we all know that. We all know what came next.
Damn.
Oh my God.
Yeah, guys, I was going through it. I was really going through it.
I know we're past usually the time of our one episode. And I don't even want you to say what happens next until we kind of like go right into part 2. I think that you've done an amazing job. By the way, thank you. You're absolutely right with having people be able to hear a story similar to theirs, or not, or even having some of these like paradoxes that I've said of certain things that you've said that I've like thought in my head. One, it's super brave. Two, it's so helpful for anybody, like it was for you, to hear other people that you could relate to, possibly kind of not feel alone. So I really, really want to make sure, just thank you so much for sharing that with us and with our audience. And I want, and maybe you want to do this, Alicona, or teaser part 2 of this, because I definitely think after hearing, all this, like, these highs and these lows and these amazing highs, and then you're badass and then another low, you're going to want to hear the other side of the story, because obviously she's here, she's smiling, she's like, some of you probably already know her for all the amazing thing that she's done on WoW. So you have to stick around to hear how
Absolutely.
she came back
Yes.
up. And I can't wait to hear that and have you share that with our audience. Because damn, girl, like, and I hate this because I that what doesn't kill you make you stronger. Like, that's cute and all, but like sometimes it's like, fuck that. Like, I don't,
Right.
or for people who are religious, God doesn't give you anything you can't handle. It's like, motherfucker, like, I'm good, thanks God. Like, I didn't need your your little extra help to show me
Right.
how
Yep.
strong I am right now. So I just, it's amazing. It's such a testament to just your, it's like obviously you're physically strong, but like your mental strength to keep going. And I just want to dive into that. But what we normally do at the end of our episodes is, this was Ali. Didn't you start this, right, Ali Karina? The what
I
if?
think I did. Yeah, I did. So basically, and you tell me, Val, I mean, do you want to end the episode still with a what if, or do you want to end it with our cliffhanger and we're going to have a part 2?
Um,
I could end.
yeah,
I could end it on a what if,
yeah.
because it'll lead into the next one.
Okay. Okay. Then we will what if.
Okay.
All
Should
right.
I do mine?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So, what if everything you've gone through is something you can come back from?
Mm-hmm.
I just want
I
to
love
mic
that.
drop that.
That's it. And
It's
to be
so
continued. No.
Yes.
Okay. I will what if I? So I'm on this journey of advocating for myself, small and big, whether it's like a small gesture that somebody does, or especially like with men who often don't realize they're either talking down to you or mansplaining, and stopping and advocating for myself in a way that may or may not come across as bitchy, but I don't care. So I guess like my what if is like, what if I don't care about how I come across when I say certain things to stand up for myself or express what I believe in, because I've found myself recently in some some situations where I've felt strongly about something and had to debate with myself whether or not I was going to say something. So I'm just going to say, what if I just say fuck that and just start speaking my truth and not care? That's all.
I like it.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna go with what if this earthly journey isn't it? Obviously, with what I started the podcast with, what if there's so much more and it's so much better? The end. And what if you guys stick around to listen to the part 2 of this
Yes.
amazing episode with Jen? We're just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we will see you if you continue to listen in just a few minutes. Adios. Goodbye.
Adios.